Okay, we're going to break down a playbook from a founder who has built not one, not two, but three successful SaaS companies. And his secret? Well, it has almost nothing to do with the product itself. Let's get into it. So, how in the world does one person manage to do this over and over again? We're talking multiple apps, each hitting over $35,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and sometimes in just a few months. I mean, that's the kind of thing most founders can only dream of. But here's the kicker, the big twist that changes the entire game. What if the real key wasn't about obsessing over every little feature, but instead, it was about mastering the one thing most founders completely overlook, distribution? And this right here, this contrast tells the entire story. Just look at this. Loic spent his first 5 years building an app that nobody used. That's 5 years, 0 users, 0 revenue. Then he cracks this new playbook and bam, suddenly he's launching companies that hit 20K, 45K, even 750K a month. The difference is it's staggering. So what was the big change? Well, it all kicked off with this really fundamental shift in his mindset. He had to stop thinking of himself as just a builder, someone obsessed with code and features, and start being a problem solver, someone totally focused on a real, validated customer need. And Loic's quote here just hits the nail on the head. He says it himself. The biggest issue with entrepreneurs today is that they get so caught up in the product, they completely forget that they have no idea how to actually get it into people's hands. That is the exact gap this whole strategy is built to fill. Which brings us to the absolute engine of this entire playbook, partnering up with YouTube creators. Now, this isn't just about running a few ads here and there. No, this is about systematically leveraging people who've already done the hard work of building the audience and trust that you desperately need. And you want to see the proof? It's right here. I mean, look at this breakdown. For his companies, more than 60%, let that sink in, over 60% of all new customers come directly from these YouTube partnerships. It's not just some side channel for him, it is the channel. So why YouTube? Why so specific? Well, Loic lays out 4 crystal clear reasons. First, the investment is predictable. You get a guaranteed minimum number of views for your money. Second, it's long-form content, which means creators can actually show people how to use the app, not just talk about it. Third, those videos have an incredibly long shelf life, driving signups for years. And finally, you can slice and dice that one long video into a ton of short-form clips and ads. It's a content goldmine. Okay, so that's the high-level strategy, but how do you actually do it? Let's get into the tactical side of things and see how he built this into a repeatable process for finding and vetting the right creators. Loic uses this simple but really powerful 4-step system. It's always the same. Step 1, find potential creators. Step 2, vet them using cold, hard data. Step 3, have a system for your outreach. And step 4, know exactly how to structure the deal. All right, let's zoom in on step 2, vetting, because this is where the magic really happens. This is where you take all the emotion out of it. It's not about finding creators you like. It's about finding creators whose numbers prove they can actually deliver results. The first metric is a total non-negotiable, an engagement rate over 10%. And the key here is how you calculate it. You take their average views and you divide that by their total number of followers. That little formula tells you if their audience is just a vanity number or if people are actually watching their stuff. The second metric is super simple but incredibly effective. You're looking for videos that consistently get over 100 comments. Why? Because that's a telltale sign of a deeply engaged community. These aren't people who just watch passively. They participate, they discuss. That's the audience you want to tap into. Now, when it's time to actually make the deal, the approach is super strategic. You always start with an offer that's about 30% lower than your absolute max budget. You present 2 different packages, one with more cash, one with more commission, to give them a choice. But the most important rule of all, you always start with a single test video. You have to know if you can break even within a month before you even think about a bigger commitment. So once you've got that down and you've mastered it, then you can move on to the advanced strategy. This is next level stuff. This is where you don't just partner with creators, you actually bring them on as co-founders and give them equity in the business. And the benefits here are just huge. First, you totally de-risk distribution. Loic actually locked in $10,000 in monthly revenue at launch with his creator co-founder. Second, you get priceless product feedback from a genuine power user. And third, You get to test and iterate on all your marketing messages for free before you spend a dime paying other creators. So you've got the strategy, you've got the people. But what does it actually take to build and run one of these companies? Let's take a quick look at the tech, the costs, and, of course, the profit. The tech stack is exactly what you'd expect: modern, lean, and built for speed. He's using things like Supabase for the database, Next.js for the front end, and of course, AI tools like OpenAI and Gemini for all the copywriting and image generation. The whole thing is designed for maximum efficiency. And what about the bottom line? I mean, that's what we all want to know, right? Well, after you account for server costs, AI usage, and paying the creators, the target profit margin is a stunning 70 to 80%. It's just proof that this distribution-first model isn't just a clever idea. It's incredibly profitable. So that's the playbook. But before we wrap this all up, there was one final rule. A piece of advice that Loic says is probably the single most important lesson from his entire journey as a founder. And here it is: do not get emotionally attached to your project. Remember, Loic wasted 5 years of his life because he believed in a project that had zero traction. Now he uses objective milestones as the one and only source of truth. If the numbers don't back it up, he's out. He moves on. So let's recap the playbook for you. First, it's the mindset shift. Stop thinking like a builder and become a distribution-focused problem solver. Second, it's the system. Make YouTube your core channel and use that 4-step process of finding, vetting, outreach, and deal-making. And finally, the ultimate rule: stay objective. Let data, not your feelings, be your guide. That is how you build a successful SaaS business. Distribution first.